What I'd like to do in this segment is give you a description of some measurement instruments that you will be using in some of the labs. This particular device is a caliper, generally called a dial caliper because there is a dial readout on it. I'll begin by describing the particular components of this device. The main part is the beam, which is right here, and it also has a scale on it. In this case, two different scales. There's an inch scale along the bottom here, and there's a millimeter scale across the top. The millimeter scale across the top is used strictly as sort of a second rough indicator. The dial itself and this lower scale read out in inches. Another part of the device, the jaws for outer dimension measurements, the jaws for inner dimension measurements. The dial indicator that I've already mentioned reads out in thousandths of an inch. So each small graduation on here is a thousandth of an inch. One full revolution of the dial is 1/10 of an inch. Another part of this is the slider. And on the slider is what's called the friction knob that I'm working with my thumb right now. You might be able to hear the clicking sound. It is meant to slip so that when I run the jaws against an object, whether it's my finger or another object, I only push until the knob clicks, and I can't overdrive the jaws that way. It also gives very repeatable readings. Another part of this particular instrument is the depth gauge. In this case, it's the wire that you can set down into a hole, for instance, to the bottom of a hole and measure the depth of a particular blind hole. Regardless of whether you're using the depth gauge, the outer jaws, or the inner, you will get the same reading on the gauge. Another particular part about this instrument is that the jaws thin down near the tip. It's very difficult to see here, but there you can see an angle cut, and it thins the jaw out near the tip. And further back on the jaw, it's thicker. You need that narrower tip to do things like measure a curved surface, for instance, such as this cylinder or tube, hollow cylinder. You wouldn't want to put that flat all the way in there because you would not get an accurate measurement because of the curvature. But by going to the thinner portion of the jaw, you're able to get an accurate measure of the thickness of that wall. An important part about any measurement instrument before you use it is to zero it. And in this case, to zero it, you literally just close the jaws, and you want it to read 0 on the dial indicator as it is doing here. However, maybe it doesn't read 0 for some reason, such as here now it reads about 5/1000ths of an inch, 0.005 inches. Well, this bezel is adjustable, so you can actually make it read 0 when you know it should read 0. And you do that by just rotating the outer bezel and then rechecking your 0. It went too far, so now we'll back up and check it again, and now I'm getting a good 0 reading. So you always want to zero your measurement instrument before you use it.